All right, we are live. I'm going to go ahead and share our Siddur.
You should mute everybody too.
Please don't forget to mute us.
Buddy. That's the sad part, though.
I know.
I know.
Yeah, but
I agree, Hazel. I agree.
I am muting us. Shabbat Shalom. That's the sad
Shalom.
part, though.
I know.
I know.
yeah, but
All right. Shabbat Shalom. Give me 1 second to get us shared again for our Siddur. All right. Good morning, everybody. It's beautiful to see your faces as always. And we will start with a little gratitude, our Moda'ani. And just a reminder, even though we are muted, we are still forming this community together wherever you are, whether you have other people in your space, in your physical space, or you're alone. An invitation to just sing louder. And even if you don't have all the words, you can always yai lai lai. So for those of us wearing a talit, we will join together. I'll invite you to put your talis on if you haven't already. And for those who are wearing a talit, I'll invite us to say this blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit. Amen. So friends, as we move through our morning liturgy, one of the things that I often talk about that I think is a beautiful part of particularly our morning service is that it goes through the themes of actually waking up, coming into our bodies, coming into our individual selves every day. We start Moda'ani, this prayer of gratitude for having our souls returned to us, for that gift of actually waking up in the morning. And then we come to Asher Yatzar, this prayer at the top of our page about our bodies, and our bodies just working, really the most physical parts. In the Hebrew, it talks about everything opening the right way or closing the right way to keep us functioning. And to just, I want to invite you to take a moment, sit up a little straighter, check in with yourselves and your body this morning. How are you feeling today? Is anything feeling a little tight? Anything feeling stiff? Anything feeling maybe a little bit better than it has been? So just give yourself a moment, take a deep breath, and we'll read together this text. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware we would lack the strength to stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. Baruch atah Adonai, rofeh chol basar umafli la'asot. Moving from our physical bodies to Elohai Neshama, to our souls. We're taught that God breathed our souls into us the last thing that happened, the last act of creation before Shabbat, our day of rest. So we'll sing together Elohai Neshama. Elohai Neshama Shenatata V'Tehorahi. Elohai Neshama Shenatata V'Tehorahi. Elohai Neshama Shenatata Psalm 150, our prayer of Hallel, of praise. And this prayer goes through all of the instruments that could have been used in antiquity to praise the Holy One. And lastly, whether you have a lute, a pipe, a timbrel, a lyre, a horn, whether you do or don't, the most important instrument that we each possess is our neshama, is our breath, our living soul, our own personal voices and abilities. Hallelujah, 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 and sure. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 So as we've woken up into our bodies, I'll invite us to get ready to rise, whether physically or rising in spirit, whatever you are able to do, as we join together for our call to prayer, our Baruch Hu. Yeah. Yotzer Or, our prayer for light, for this endless process of creation. We don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. We don't know what the world is going to bring. But one thing we can count on always is that the world keeps turning, that day turns to night, and every morning the sun rises again. So we'll read together our Yotzer. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy, you illumine the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness, you daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, Adonai. In wisdom, you formed them all, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, Adonai, our God, for the excellent work of your hands and for the light you created. May they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we may all swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly lights. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer ha-me'orot. We'll continue with our Shema. And I want to invite you this morning to take each word as a breath. So we are all muted individually, so this can really be whatever you need it to be. So each word, focus on the intention, focus on connecting with your breath and with the meaning of the words. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. We can be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam Beshivtecha b'beitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech u'shoftecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot bein einecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher chotzeiti etchem me'eret Mitzrayim liod lahem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. So as we move to our Micha Mocha, our song of freedom, I want to invite you to take another deep breath. Think about, is this breath any different than the one we took this morning at the beginning of our services? Are you a little bit more awake right now? Does your body maybe feel a bit freer? And whether or not your body feels freer, hopefully we can loosen it up during this time. Even though we're sitting in our houses, you always have the option to stand up when you need, to sit down when you need, to do whatever is going to feel right for you to help create this holy space. So our Micha Mocha is all about freedom. I want to invite you to think about what is one freedom that you enjoy, one freedom that you want to uplift a bit this morning? And if you want to write it in the chat, sharing with us all, what is one freedom that you are feeling grateful for, that you want to acknowledge, whatever it is, one freedom that you experience in your life. Let's see, let me admit a couple more people. And I'll check our chat. So walking around, being able to walk around. So a few people are feeling that freedom. Beautiful. All right, so now we'll prepare for our Amidah. And I want to invite you for our Amidah. We'll start out just singing these words. And if you want to physically rise, I want to invite you to start by singing these words and rise whenever you feel personally ready. And then we'll continue with our Avot and Imahot. Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Vekonei hakol, vezoher chasdei avot v'imahot, umevii geula livnei bneihem, leman shemo v'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham, ve'ezrat Sarah, atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei hakol atarav lechoshia, Morid hatal, mechalkel chayim v'chesed, mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim v'rofei cholim, umatir asurim, ומקיים אמונתו לשלח מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לה מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה נאמנת להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה אל זה ואמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא כל הארץ כבודו אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו אחד הוא אלוהינו הוא אבינו הוא מלכנו הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו לעיני כל חי אני אדוני אלוהיכם ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהי ציון לדור ודור הללויה לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש בשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Can it be seated? And we'll get ready to join together for Vishamru, our prayer for Shabbat. And on another page in Mishkan Tefillah, it gives us at the bottom this quote from Ahad Ha'am, a great Jewish thinker. And in one line, I think Ha'am summed it up perfectly. And he said, more than the Jewish people has kept Shabbat, that Shabbat has kept the Jewish people. Will join for Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת חיי נפש, שבת חיי נפש, שבת חיי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. So it's now time to meditate on the meaning of this day. And we have our special blessing for the day of Shabbat. And I'll invite us to read this English together. Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In gracious love, Adonai, our God, grant us your holy Shabbat as heritage. May Israel, who sanctifies your name, rest on Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Amen. So, we come to this next section of our Amidah, our Hoda'ah, our prayer of thanksgiving. And I want to invite you to share. I'm going to stop our share for a second so we can see each other's faces. So if you're on our Zoom and you want to unmute and tell us something that you're feeling particularly grateful for, I would invite you to do that. You can also type into the chat. That way we can see it and I'll read it out loud. So if there's anyone in our Zoom space right now who is feeling grateful for something that you want to share with our community, Charlotte, please.
My grandson just became engaged and he'll be married next year. And since we love his choice, we're ecstatically happy.
Mazel tov. Beautiful. Anybody else? Freema.
Okay, well, I am grateful for friends and family because you never know what's going to happen from day to day. Because yesterday I just found out that I lost a friend, and I'm still dealing with this now. And she was difficult. She was like, but we were good for each other at times when we really needed to be good. And, just to appreciate everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so grateful for.
The relationships we have, definitely. Let's see. I see Robert typed in the chat, health and safety. Beautiful. Was there anybody else? Okay, let's see. Deborah, I'm grateful for my practice of gratitude, and that makes me cherish so much. Isn't that beautiful? Grateful for being able to say we're grateful. I mean, that really is something beautiful that we get to just sit back and have this experience. All right, was there anybody else who wanted to say something? Joyce, am I seeing? Let me try to unmute you. Hold on a moment, Joyce, we're still muted. You might see a little button that you can click. We'll make sure, there we go.
I'm grateful for my family, and I'm grateful that I have them close to me and taking special care of me and doing their thing as well. So I know they feel limited, but I'm very grateful that I'm in my own home. My daughter and son are here, and it's very good.
Beautiful.
I'm glad to be in my home.
Great to be in her home, and a beautiful, beautiful family you have, Joyce. Absolutely. And then let's see in the chat, we also grateful for good health of my family and friends, says Karen. So we certainly share in the gratitude for our relationships, our connections, and our communities. All right, beautiful. Anybody else have anything you want to share? All right, well, we'll just hold all of that gratitude in our hearts. And I invite you, Shabbat is a time of reflection. It's really this time to give us a chance to sit back, step away from our lives, whether they look busier or kind of way more boring than every day, and to just think about what is it that we're grateful for. Imagine. Let's see. All right. Naz says he's grateful for baseballs, toys, his family, and dog. Yes. Beautiful. All of these things are certainly blessings. Thank you for sharing that. All right, friends, I'm going to go ahead and mute us all again and share our Siddur. So I want to invite us to take just a moment of silent prayer for your own reflection, whatever reflections of your hearts and souls that you feel is necessary for today. We'll take a few moments of silence and join back together for Yehiyu. Friends, we now transition to our Torah reading. I will put our reading for this morning coming from Parshat Pinchas up on our screen. And this week we are in the book of Numbers. The Israelites are in the wilderness. There we go. Make sure I can share this. All right, so the Israelites are in the wilderness. This story starts out by taking a census of all of the people in the Israelite camp at that time. And we go through different tribes. We start by going through the tribes, the 12 tribes of Israel. And we actually name every single person who is the descendant of that person's descendant. And we get numbers actually of how many people were from the different tribes. And the Torah actually offers that there was somewhere for the main prominent tribes, somewhere around 40,000 and something people from each tribe. So we know that numbers in Torah can often be representational, but they really took a great account of who was involved. And after we go through everyone in the tribes, we start to get different portions of land allocated for the people who are the offspring. And what we see just before I'm going to start here in Numbers 27, chapter 1, what we'll actually see is that before this point, inheritance works in a very particular way. Inheritance went from the father to the son, very male-centric. And something is going to change that's actually going to be revolutionary, especially for its time, thinking thousands of years ago in our Torah portion this morning. And so we will say our blessings together. I will invite you to please join me. You can actually, if you feel like you need an aliyah this morning, if you feel that you want to lead us in this aliyah, I would invite you to join me with the call section. And if you feel like you just want to be a part of it, then I would invite you to join with responses. If you're able, well, please rise. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach. Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. And if you're more comfortable, I'll invite you to sit down as we all are looking at the Torah text on our own screens, and we don't need to still stand in the presence of the Torah. All right, so I'll start. This is verse 1. V'tikravna benot Zelofehad ben Chefer ben Gilad ben Machir ben Menashe l'mishpechot Menashe ben Yosef ve'ele shemot benotav Machla Noah v'chagla v'milka v'tirtza v'ta'amodna lifnei Moshe v'lifnei Elazar haKohen v'lifnei hanashim v'chol ha'edah Petach ochel moed lemor. Avinu met b'midbar, v'hu lo chaya b'toch ha'edah. Ha'noadim el Adonai ba'adat korach, ki bechet o met. Uvanim lo hayu lo lama yigaru shem avinu mitoch mishpachto ki ein lo ben tana lanu achuza bitoch achei avinu. So I'll scroll back for the English, and I just want to read these few verses and think about just the number of verses in the greater context of what's going on in Torah. All of the Israelites are still in the wilderness at this point. The daughters of Zelophehad of the Manassite family, so from the descendants of Menashe, son of Chefer, son of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, son of Joseph, came forward. All right, so this is directly from Joseph's line. The names of the daughters were Machla, Noah, Hogla, Milcah, and Tirza. So had a lot of daughters. They stood before Moses, Eleazar the priest, the chieftains, and the whole assembly at the entrance of the tent of meeting. And they said, "Our father died in the wilderness. He was not one of the faction, Korach's faction, which banded together against the Lord, but he died of his own sin and has left no sons. Let not our father's name be lost to his clan just because he had no son. Give us a holding among our father's kinsmen." Moses then brought their case before God, and God said to Moses, "The plea of Zelophehad's daughters is just. You should give them a hereditary holding among their father's kinsmen, transfer their father's share to them." Further, God goes on, "Speak to the Israelite people as follows. If a man dies without leaving a son, you shall transfer his property to his daughter. If he has no daughter, you shall assign his property to his brothers. If he has no brothers, you shall assign his property to his father's brothers. If his father has no brothers, you shall assign his property to his nearest relative in his own clan, and he shall inherit it. This shall be the law of procedure for the Israelites in accordance with the Lord's command to Moses." All right, so we'll join together in our closing blessing and then get into this text a little bit. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. All right, so I'm going to stop this share so that we can see each other's faces once more. Now, I want to actually open this up first before I share kind of some of my own thoughts on this. I want to invite the people who are in our Zoom room, and just a reminder, if you are joining us on YouTube, you may also, contact the congregation to get a Zoom link to join us in this space if you want to participate in that way. And also in Zoom, I believe you can write your own comments and thoughts as we go that we can see later, as well as in YouTube. So anybody's reactions that you want to share for this Torah reading, you can go ahead and unmute yourself or type in the chat if you'd like. Okay, Frema, yeah, I see your hands.
I think the daughters were very brave. I think it took a lot of courage for them to go up in front of Moses, knowing that all the time it was just men and boys, and I think it took a lot of courage, and I think their father spirit was behind them, and I think they did a very good job.
Nice. Anybody else have just any kind of like initial reactions, thoughts for this? So one thing that I am struck by, so it starts, Zelophehad's daughters go to Moses, right? Moses is kind of the spokesperson for the community. And this was not the fashion of the time, right? This was a practice that was entirely revolutionary. A father had a son, went to the son. If there were no sons, the inheritance was lost. And so Moses takes this case and says, hey, we have this one case, and Moses' question is not supposed to be for the whole community, right? Moses is specifically asking for an exception for these particular women in Torah. And it isn't Moses who agrees, rather it's God who agrees and then escalates it. So one of the, I think, the amazing things that we can see in this Torah portion is that it's God, it's a higher source who is taking it and saying, okay, well, not just these women, but all women. And hey, if there aren't daughters or sons, then we are going to expand this levels and levels out so that legacies live on and inheritance and memories last. And there's a few things that strike me about this Torah portion that I think are very relevant for the times that we're in. One is this question of equity and who makes decisions having to do with equity and freedoms. Now, Moses was the leader of his time. But we know that Moses wasn't perfect, right? Just last week's Torah reading, Moses actually does not do what he's supposed to do, not for the first time, and instead of talking to a rock, strikes the rock, right? He goes very wrong. The Israelites have gone very wrong in many of their judgment calls, especially in this period where they are in the wilderness. Just think, they're in the wilderness so long because of the mistakes that the Israelites have made. So while they are the people in power, they are respected, Moses and Aaron are the leaders looked up to, sometimes these people who are our leaders don't have the full picture. That Moses thought he was being truly equitable and fair and revolutionary and just bringing this case of, can we look at these 4 or 5 women having some more rights than we might have thought of? Right? But it wasn't Moses, it wasn't a single person in the community who said, yes, we're going to give all daughters rights, not even daughters, we're going to give nieces and nephews and relatives and make sure this legacy lives on. That I think sometimes when we are in some of our best thinking, trying to really perfect society and make it better, that some of these bigger ideas are often beyond us. It wasn't even a concept in the Israelites' mind that they were going to try to preserve legacies for generations and generations, right? It was the thing before that. If you had property, there was nobody there, who knows what happens? It's left. Maybe it's open for anybody. But now we have this bigger, literally bigger power here talking about God. whatever God means to you, as the one saying, let me offer something else. Let me open up your eyes to some greater possibilities. This is a wonderful idea, just these women. But what if we took this as a frame for something bigger? What if we widened our view and understanding of how to be equitable in society, of how to look at others? I think so much of the conversation happening in our world and in our lives right now is, for example, conversations on racial justice and inclusion, conversation about healthcare and who's included in that. There are so many people in this world. I really do like to believe that most people in this world have the best of intentions. What we see on the news maybe doesn't reflect that all the time, but personally, that's something that gets me through the days. I don't know about you. But it takes thinking bigger and getting outside of our bubbles and outside of our communities and listening to more experienced voices. We all have our own ideas of how to improve the world. And sometimes when a new idea comes, it might seem too big for us. But I think one of the messages of Pinchas, of our Torah portion, is that we have a lesson of what would it mean to take this one question and really focus out? How do we expand our worldviews to not only think about our communities when questions arise, when problems arise, to not just think about ourselves, our families, our synagogue community, our New York community, our greater community that's scattered around the world of people who are involved in this Jewish life, but what is it to expand our perspectives and think about the future, whether that's generations to come, whether that's people who we might not even think about, who we might not know. But I think this Torah portion invites us, when there is a question of how do we act, of how do we look at the rights of others, that there's always a bigger picture around us, even if that's not the question presented in front of us. And so we always have the opportunity to expand our worldview, to expand our horizons. If we each thought of one act of tikkun olam, one act of repairing the world of good that we could do, I'm sure that everyone could think of something that we could do even today in our own lives, whether that's something small like taking out recycling, whatever it is in your own life, a phone call to a friend. This is pretty easy, actually. But what would it be to expand your circle, your reach? What would that look like for you? And I want to invite you to actually think about that. Maybe try and experiment this week. Whether you are someone who says, hey, my whole life is looking at rights and justice and tikkun olam, making the world better, then maybe think about, hey, what's an area I'm not reaching? If you're someone that says, wow, I have been so wrapped up in this quarantine and I am working every minute and watching my kids and taking care of my family, whatever it is, whatever end of the extreme, what would it be like to just do something small, something different? And these acts, especially in times when we're kind of stuck, it's often this type of thinking and these little actions, no matter how great or small reaching, just these actions of having ourselves think about how can we act in the world a little bit more? How can we have an impact? Just that can bring about some more positivity. Right? It's so easy, I think, especially in these times where we are sitting in our houses. Oh my God, the monotony. We need to find methods of self-care. And one method of self-care is actually looking outwards, looking after other people. It's scientifically proven that this affects your brain chemistry and will make you as a person feel more joy, feel more meaning. And that is what our world is all about. So friends, I want us to use this week as an invitation to look inwards and then expand outwards. Think about what is one way that you can affect the world. And if you have ideas already, and if you want to share them throughout the rest of our services in our chat, beautiful. If you want to get in touch with me and email me and tell me, what's something that you're thinking about doing or something that you've done this week, beautiful. I would love to hear it. All right, and let's see. Ellen in the chat, the freedoms and rights afforded to the woman of Zelophehad seem like an outlier or nod to equality of women. Are there any other examples of biblical rights for women? All right, so Ellen, this is where we get into our double-edged sword of Torah, right? So this is amazing. And we're like, wow, because here are a couple lines that start from a place of women's rights. So yes, usually in Torah, we do not hear so much from the women. So this is a pretty revolutionary example. We do have a couple other cases. I think, it's pretty telling that when we get to anything in Torah that mentions women, especially what's revolutionary about this section is that it names the women. It doesn't just refer to them as the wife of or the daughter of, right? It actually gives their names. So it is pretty rare in Torah that we get women's names. So I think what we can say is we will take this, we will elevate this, and just because something isn't written down in Torah doesn't mean it wasn't happening, right? There were certain people with certain agendas who were recording what exactly is it that needs to go in this one document. But I like to think maybe there were myriad examples of other things happening that just didn't get written down. That's one of the questions that we have whenever we look at this. All right, my friends. So while we are thinking about Torah, I want to take a moment to turn our thoughts to those in need of a little bit of healing of mind, body, and spirit. And I'm going to pull up our Misha Berach list. Just a moment. All right. So this week we are holding in our hearts prayers of healing for Jesse Sakharoff, Ronnie Turek, Ira Weiss, Elaine Drucker, Alan Freemer, Susan Bilecki, Andrew Matsella, Jeffrey Levinson, Michael Scott Landisberg, Michael Luck, Barry Strumpf, Selma Carl, Jacqueline Halpern, Joan Bumgarner, Violet Kopp, Jamie Hershey, Sandy Alfont, Irene Nachinoff, Esther Bott Lucy, Suzanne Chamow Friedman, Dolores Weinberger, Ingrid Grosso, Roberta Gotthelf, Audrey Cohen, Fran Sisler, Ruth Ryback, John Carfisi, Francis O'Haron, Orlando Aiello. Also names that were sent to me: Andy Glansman, Ira and Deanna Roth, Vicky Lightnecker, Eddie DeAngelis, Nettie Trommer, Dave Moore, Mia Gannon. Is there anybody else who, okay, let's see. I'm going to read the other names added in our chat. And if there's anyone else you want mentioned, please go ahead and type them into our chat. Freya, Michael Moore, Nancy Connor, Michael Dash, Dave Stanger, Marion McGivney, Freya Cashmere, Delphine Wolf, Rebecca Rothstein, Bambi Polk. And if there's any other names that you would like to add, please do that now, Freema.
Elaine Godet, Ellie Heimlich, Phyllis O'Neill, Shirley Amrani.
Sue Ann Fishkin-Hurwitz, Della Cohen, Susan Shiro, Nina Moynister, and Lila Riemann.
Michael Ventragula.
All right, so I will.
Rabbi?
Yeah.
I want to add Jane Berman, Harry Boa, Barbara Magid, Louise Dankberg.
Thank you. And also
They should be on the list.
Inga Probetsky as well. All right. So I will share our prayer book again, and we will join together for our Misha Berach, holding all of these loved ones, those named, those not named, in our hearts as we get. Is this big enough for us to see?
Mm-hmm.
1 second. And we'll just mute everyone. I'll ask you to mute yourselves again. Mishavera avotenu kor havracha leimotenu made of sorts of strength. Who was the one before us? Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishavera imotenu mikol habracha. Bless those that need healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. So now we will join, if you are able, to rise for our Aleinu L'Shabeach. As I zoom in, I'll invite us to rise. Aleinu L'Shabeach La'adon HaKol, Lateit Gidula Yotzer Reshit, Shehu Noti Shamayim V'Yoser Haaretz, U'moshav Yitaro B'Shamayim Mimal, U'shchina Tuzo B'dovchei Meromim, Hu Eloheinu Enod, Ve'anachnu Chorim, U'mishtachavim U'modim, Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'nemar, V'chai Adonai Lemelech al kol haaretz, Vayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, U'shemo, U'shemo, U'shemo echad. We can be seated for just a moment, and we now take time to turn our thoughts to those who are no longer with us, loved ones who we've lost at this time in recent years, at this season, and loved ones who we have lost in recent days. This week, our Beshert community is acknowledging the recent deaths of Stephen Kamholtz, Robert Serpico, Jeanette Riley, Melvin Barash, William Lampy, Martin Schenken, Solomon Titelbaum, Sean Singer, Jeff Harris, Sammy Berger, Rabbi Kenneth Roseman, Chaim Bronzweig, Harry Baylor, Ben Schaefer, Shirley Hyatt Tobias, Myron Klein, Ted Tobias, Sandy Gannon Abel, David Ribbler, Beth Newman, Buzz Lorch, Benjamin Benyomin Elwood, Edward Albino, Joseph Davis, Jerry Sharon, Gary Zeitlin, Sean Devlin, David Levy, Lenny Drucker, Beverly Tredinick, Evelyn Pincus, Rita Spiro, Beatrice BJ Jacobs, Melvin Jurgrau, Gloria Katzen, Lorraine Elner, Amanda Corwin, Mel Paul, Nigel Grant, and Benjamin Resnick. Also remembering Carol Gross, Asher Graham Pinsky, and those Yahrzeits being observed by our members. Anna Arnowitz, Manny Arnowitz's mother, Raymond Figueroa, Diane Figueroa's father-in-law, Roland Friedman, Rob Friedman's father, Arnold Goldman, Julia Rusakis' father, Blanche Jonas, mother of Sheldon Jonas, Charlotte Kaplan, mother of Philip Kaplan, Sam Kaplan, father of Sylvia Kaplan, William Bayard Miller, Rich Miller's father, and Michael Panzer, Lori Pandolfo's cousin. We are also acknowledging those names in our chat. Let's see. Selma Gold, Jeff Harris, Dr. Mark Leibovitz, Dr. Tina Polk, Dr. Austin Schlecker, Abby Sheck, Todd Gordon, Hazel, Jane, okay, let's see. Latrice Langer and Jay Berman. If there are any names that I didn't call, please unmute yourself. Freema.
Carol Antry and Perry Frankel.
Boris Brisker.
Thank you. All right, so we will join together words of Mourner's Kaddish, which I will share now. If it's your custom, I will invite you to rise. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabbah, v'alma divrach yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'gala v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach le'alam ulamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yanaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmeid kudushat b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiran v'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru amen. So now I want to invite, do we have any announcements this week, President Eric Platt?
Not many. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And Torah study is taking a hiatus for a couple of weeks.
She went all white.
And can you mute,
Yep, gotcha.
Lean, can you mute yourself?
I got it, Eric.
Okay, thanks. So what was I saying?
You were saying Torah study is taking a hiatus.
For a couple of weeks. Is that true or not?
Sure. I'm not sure about that. We might still be having it, so stay tuned.
It's happening this Tuesday and it's not happening the following 2 Tuesdays.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we will send all the.
I was given incorrect information from the source, but that's okay. Anyway.
Well, that's what Sam told us at the last Torah study.
No, that's fine. That's not what he told me the day before. That's what he told me 2 hours before you had your Torah study.
Okay.
Okay. That's fine. So you have it this week. So if anybody still interested, call Sam or call the office for Sam's information so we can contact them. And then they're going to be on hiatus for 2 weeks. And I guess they'll resume in August. The other thing is next, not next week, the following week, July 25th, Saturday, July 25th, there's Haftalah and open mic. I think at 7 o'clock or 7:30, Ellen?
7:30.
7:30, okay. And since we're not in, and you'll be receiving mail in a couple of weeks probably regarding the high holidays and what our plans are and etc. and how some people will be invited to participate. So make sure you watch out for your emails and probably mailings
Great.
toward the end of the month, the beginning of next.
Yeah, Helene, did you have something you wanted to add?
I was going to say something to Hazel, but I'm putting it in the chat.
Great. All right. And if
And-
you want to be involved in the open mic night on the 25th, there are still openings. If you have a fabulous talent that you feel called to share, please do that. And you can contact the synagogue, Ellen and Joni, I believe, as well. Okay, great. Are we good on the announcement front? Anything else?
And just that, since we're not in the sanctuary, please give tzedakah through the website if you can, or send a check.
Great. All right, friends.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. So we will close with some words. Shalom Ose. Shalom. May we create peace and more peace. May it descend to us from up high, and may we feel it in our worlds below. Ose Shalom Nilalah. Oyase Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al Yisrael. Ve'imru. Amen. Yase Shalom. Yase Shalom. Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al Yisrael. Yase Shalom. Yase Shalom. Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al Yisrael. A blessing for all of us in this holy community. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. May God be kind and gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May you feel that holy presence, that presence of holiness with you always. May you too be spreaders of this holiness in your homes, in your families, in your communities, and beyond. And we say Amen, Shabbat Shalom. We can unmute if people want to chat. I'm going to end our YouTube stream now.